How's it going, guys? Will here, and it's been a little while ever since we've taken a look at any mice on this channel. So today we're coming back with a bang by taking a look at what could quite possibly be the best budget RGB gaming mouse on the market. This is the Corsair Harpoon RGB, and I picked this thing up for about $20, which is actually super cheap considering what the spec sheet offers. So with that, I was interested enough to buy it on the spot to see if this mouse is any good or not. First of all, let's take a look at the build quality, and for the $20 I paid, it mostly feels good. The actual mouse has pretty much no flex to it, the buttons feel tactile, and the scroll wheel doesn't feel like it's going to become dislodged anytime soon. One thing I don't like though is the lack of a braided or removable cable, and while I get that this is a budget mouse, I just don't like that in general because it means if it breaks, the whole mouse will have to be replaced, and in terms of aesthetics, kind of makes the mouse appear a little cheap. But that's pretty much the only part of this mouse that does feel cheap. And seeing as it's only $30 new, I'm gonna give Corsair the pass on this one. Just try to avoid running this cable over with something like, I don't know, your chair. Actually, to be fair, that is realistic, because if you keep your PC on your floor and you just gaming away, then suddenly you slide off in the other direction to get some nachos. No. I mean, it could happen. Next, we have the specs. This mouse features 6 programmable buttons, which again, all feel tactile, and for the most part, are properly positioned, but there is one huge pain that we are going to be talking about later on. The DPI maxes out at 6,000, and for me, that's plenty, and it's fairly light at 85 grams. It also features the true RGB Corsair logo that's always nice to see on any product. Because of this, you can tailor your LED to match your setup, which is always good. Seriously, if you're not already doing that, try it. I guarantee it will transform your setup. Speaking of transforming, I've been shooting in the wrong white balance. In terms of ergonomics, this mouse is definitely more tailored towards people who prefer a claw grip. It's not too wide, which I'm personally okay with because I've had to use a Magic Mouse for the last few months anyway, and I've found that I rarely get hand fatigue when I'm using this throughout a long editing session, and while it's not as comfortable as something such as an MX Master, it's still pretty comfortable. Button placement in general is also pretty comfortable, but one thing I will say, as I said I was going to talk about earlier, is the position of the DPI switch. This is possibly the worst position Corsair could have gone with for such an easy to press button. I've honestly lost count of how many times I've accidentally pressed my DPI switch during editing or gaming, and this could have been fixed on Corsair's part really easily. They could have indented it more, made it more difficult to press, or even moved it, and none of this would be a problem. But because it sticks out so much and is so easy to press, and I have had some problems. Now, one way you can solve this is if you rebind it, but I really wish they'd made it either more indented or more difficult to press in general, because no matter what you bind this to, you'll still have the same problem. Overall though, it's very comfortable, and I've had no problem using it for long periods of time. In terms of a gaming experience, aka what this mouse was designed for, it's honestly pretty great. I've played a fair amount of CSGO with this mouse, and honestly I've had no problems at all. The gap between the right and the left click is wide enough not to accidentally click both at the same time, a huge problem with a lot of gaming mice. The wheel is nice and tactile so you don't get any miss swaps, the cable is conveniently placed so you never run it over, and the 2 side buttons can be super useful for things such as immediate crouching or jumping. The rubber side grip which your thumb rests on is also a nice addition, as it means your hand is much less likely to slip during a gaming session, and overall this is a really great gaming mouse. In terms of RGB, the logo lights up with 16.8 million different colors, so you can set this mouse to pretty much any color you want within the iCUE software, which we are going to be talking about more later on, but it's nice and bright, looks great, and I don't really have any problems here. Why do you do this? I need the blue background because otherwise it's just too warm. Now moving on to software, and as it turns out, they don't actually have a stable release on macOS yet. Right, so it was at this point in the video where the file decided to corrupt itself. I went through all the routes in Final Cut, but I still can't find that original file, so I guess the rest of this is going to be voiceovered on the Blue Yeti. Now, all I really said about the software is, on PC, it's very good, and there is a stable release out, but on macOS, there isn't actually a stable release, and in the beta version that Corsair actually have publicly available, there's no support for this particular mouse. So in the current state of the software, to get the full experience, you're really going to be needing to use a Windows computer, but overall, the interface is functional, clean, and pretty much all that you'd expect from a company like Corsair. Overall, the Corsair Harpoon is a stunningly good mouse for the price, and I have a hard time not recommending it for a first gaming mouse, or simply just as a productivity mouse like I've been using it for the majority of the time I've owned it. It's honestly a bargain, and I'm super glad I picked it up. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, and smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.